Namaskara. Welcome to Dhaatu Navaratra Mahotsava 2021 Day 3 celebrations. We had to stop short yesterday of showing you the visuals of the Antastu or the main steps, and we will continue from that today. So we have the Devatas, the Devas, the Trinity, the Hindu Trinity, their consorts, their progeny, and all the rishis and Vedic deities, the Saptamatrikas are there, and historical seers like the Alvars and the musical trinity, and the dancers and the local folk and the animals are all represented in the hierarchy on these beautiful steps. Along with this, we also have on display the grains used, groceries used in daily life. So little children may learn that what is good for their health, and there is environmental consciousness in this, there is health consciousness in this, and there is also offering to the world beyond the self. So this is the beauty of these main steps, and we will look at it in detail again. What you started out today was the Mysuru Sambhrama, Nada Habba, Mysuru Dasara. We have a very famous Dasara procession happening in the city of Mysore in Karnataka. It has its history with the Vijayanagar period, where King Krishnadevaraya encouraged all the artists and artisans who contributed to the existence of India the way she is today. Ours is a country which welcomes everybody, which brings everybody into the fold, and there is an acceptance of almost everything which the world has to offer. This is very much integrated in the performing arts, in the fine arts, and the folk art of the country. So the Dasara procession which you saw today had the Wadeyar and Ammani, the Maharani. It started with the Nandikolu and the flag hoist, the flag of the state, and then with the Asthana Bakshis, the courtesans of the king. This was at the period when the king was ruling, pre-democratic time Dasara procession. And then there were Arab traders who came and traded the horses. So we have the horse traders, we have the Raja Panditas. Scholars always had a position in and a place, an encouragement in the Mysore kingdom. And then we have the uncle of the Maharaja holding the umbrella, the maternal uncle of the Maharaja who always held the umbrella, and then the Maharaja on the Ambari. We also have Chamundeshwari, the goddess of Mysore, who is there today, who is taken in the Ambari, is the structure on top of the elephant, which is taken on a procession on Dashami day in the state of Mysore. This is followed by other elephants, and we will see the procession continuing in a while. what makes us Indians? Who is this Indian? And there's a very simple answer. How do I remain an Indian? Doesn't matter where I am, which state, which country, which nook and corner of this world. I can remain an Indian if I know and understand the festivals of India and the epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. And why is this? See, the epics are so old. Ramayana, minimum age 5,000 years old. Of course, it can be older. There is a debate on this, not today's topic. As old as that, it talks about generations of citizens of this land of India. It talks about family relationships, especially the Ramayana, which talks about relationship within a household, husband and wife, father and son, mother and son. And the Shadvargas, as we know, the mind remains the same. Kala can change, but the human mind desires the same things. The form of the mind can change, but the mind remains the same. So Ramayana addresses these issues of family with dharma, with one's duty as the ultimate. So with this as a guideline, with dharma as our guideline, Ramayana shows us the way to go through life. It talks about how the greatest of stalwarts had to look at life. What is the path they had to take? Ayana means path. Rama's Ayana would be Ramayana. We now welcome you to sage Maharshi Valmiki's Ramayana stories, which are put up in the form of story boxes. In these boxes, you have dolls telling you the story of Ramayana. Some of them are made of wood and some of them are made of terracotta mud, and there are wire dolls too. Come on, let's start the story of Ramayana. We have here Maharshi Valmiki, who emerges from an anthill, deep in meditation, and comes out as the saint poet who renders this great work, this great epic to the world. The story of Ramayana, see here in this box, the story of Ramayana is written in the form of shloka. Shloka is that verse which is very, very beautiful to hear, which comes out of shokha, or the melancholy of sage Valmiki. When Valmiki Maharshi, you can see him sitting here, has gone early morning during sunrise to have his bath, he sees two white birds, water birds, the Krauncha Pakshis, and as he is admiring them, cooing to each other, the hunter recklessly shoots one dead. And Maharshi gets upset by this act, he's saddened by his act and gets anger and curses the hunter. This curse itself comes out in a form of a very, very beautiful form. Later, when Maharshi goes back to his ashrama, he asks his student Bharadwaja, who's carrying the clothes of Maharshi, and he asks him and says, what happened today? Then Narada Muni later visits Maharshi Valmiki and blesses him the vision of the story of Rama, which we will see today. We have a very beautiful poem, Shuddha Brahma Paratpara Rama, which is a Sanskrit shloka which has to be taught to every child. It used to be a syllabus in classes 3, 4 and 5 in Bangalore many years ago. I'm talking my mother's times. Maybe we should bring that back and teach little children. It's such a beautiful verse, and we have been inspired by that. Shesha Talpa Sukha Nidrita Rama. See, Vishnu, when he is in Vaikuntha, the rishis, Sanakadi Munis and all the rishis go and ask him for a boon. They say, please come on earth, destroy Ravana's creating too much nuisance. There are too many negative energies, which we call Rakshasas, upon earth. Oh Vishnu, please come on earth and bless us. Mahavishnu, decides to be born upon earth. Now, here on earth in Ayodhya, there is Dasharatha Maharaja, and Dasharatha Maharaja doesn't have sons from his children, from his three wives, Sumitra, Kausalya and Kaikeyi. Kausalya is the elder one, Sumitra is the second one, Kaikeyi being the youngest. So the three wives don't have progeny, and he is very worried. At the same time, Ayodhya doesn't have rain. There is no rainfall and there is famine in the country. Kings were not autocratic. They had great seers like Vamadeva, Vasishta as their advisors, and they asked these intellects for their advice on what to do. Maharshi Vasishta says, there is one Rishi, a Brahmachari, who is in severe austerities. His name is Rishyashringa. If he comes into your kingdom, you will be blessed, and he is the best Purohit anybody can have. Let him come. We will do the Ashwamedha Yaga, and after that we can request him to do the Putra Kameshti Yaga. How to bring Rishyashringa, who cannot step out of what is known as Sringeri today? That land is where Rishyashringa lived, and it is said he was such a bachelor, he had not seen a female. He was amidst the animals in the forest, eating herbs and doing penance all the time. They found a time, Vasishta found a time when his father was not there, and they announced in Ayodhya, we need help. Citizens of Ayodhya, we need help, come and help us. Everybody was scared of this, the shapa, the curse which the rishi might give them if they get caught. Nobody was ready to come and do the job of kidnapping Rishyashringa, because there was no other way of getting him to come into Ayodhya. Finally, there were the dancers, the artists who got together in Ayodhya and said, we shall protect the land. And four most capable artists went in a boat across the river and went to Sringeri, where Rishyashringa lived, and there they lured him into coming into their boat. Rishyashringa asked them, what kind of animals are you? They had such lovely delicacies of food, and before he knew, he had been tricked into coming into Ayodhya. And as soon as he stepped, when great people come to our land is blessed with a lot of rain, with a lot of food, and with a lot of suraksha, protection to the people. So as soon as Rishyashringa stepped into Ayodhya, there was rain. Of course, Ashwamedha Yaga happened in great success. They took such fantastic care of Rishyashringa that he was very pleased. And then he was so pleased, he asked Dasharatha, Maharaja, is there anything I can do for you? And as Vasishta had taught him, Dasharatha and Vasishta requested him, saying, you are the one and only person who can do a Putra Kameshti Yaga. Please perform the Putra Kameshti Yaga for us. When such great people do the work, results are bound to happen. So Agni Deva appears in the Putra Kameshti Yaga, and we all know the story of how Agni Deva offers paisa and nectar. And it is paisa is also a dish we do in Karnataka, in South India, everywhere. We have kheer. Even in all over India, the dish exists, and that sweet dish is given, and Dasharatha distributes it amongst his three wives, Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. And then we have, lo behold, the birth of four beautiful princes. Dasharatha's adoring Rama, he cannot have his eyes full. He's forever watching dear little Rama play, and dear little Rama in his cradle over there. And then we have Lakshmana here, and then there is Bharata and Shatrughna. Lakshmana, Shatrughna and Bharata over there. Manthara, who comes from Kaikeyi's homeland, is watching Bharata. And she's also watching with a lot of jealousy and negativity what goes on within the premise of the palace. As you see, we have female guards to protect the little children in the grand palace of King Dasharatha of Ayodhya. The little children grow up, And then one day they are being taught Dhanurvidya. What is Dhanurvidya? Dhanurvidya is where we have the weapons, astras, and then also have the mantra with it, the shastra and the mantra which becomes the astra. Here when the boys are grown up, they are about 16 years old, Maharshi Vishwamitra comes and asks Dasharatha for a favor. Without thinking, Dasharatha says, okay Maharshi, I am very happy you have come, whatever you want I will do. Then Maharshi Vishwamitra is very happy. He says, without asking, he agreed, without even questioning what it is. And he asks for Rama and Lakshmana to be sent into the forest with him to protect his yajna. And why can't Vishwamitra Maharshi protect it? Because Vishwamitra has taken Maunavrata. He cannot speak, he cannot curse, he cannot shoo away anybody. And he also wants to help the Avatara Purusha, Sri Ramachandra, with whatever it is that he has to do. So Vishwamitra takes Rama and Lakshmana with him, much against Dasharatha's protests. On the way, they have to cross river Ganga. And then Rama asks Vishwamitra Maharshi, Maharshi, what is this river? She is so powerful, she is so grand, she is so rich. Who is this river? Then Maharshi tells him about Rama, about his ancestor Bhagiratha, who did a lot of penance to get Ganga onto earth. You can see Bhagiratha here. As they are moving forward, Maharshi Vishwamitra says, there is demoness Tataka. She tells Rama, you have to vanquish her. She is troubling people a lot. Her presence is causing such havoc that all the good people who are working towards the welfare of the universe are being destroyed, so the negative forces can come and take over. Tataka appears like a thunder. You know, they're walking in the forest. It is dense, it is dark. The trees are so tall, the sky is not visible and the sun is not coming into the land. So Rama is walking in this silence, and suddenly there is like thunder, lightning sounds, and then there is a crash and Tataki appears. Tataki appears and she's ready to finish off Maharshi Vishwamitra, Rama and Lakshmana. Maharshi tells Rama, please shoot your arrows, Sri Rama, what you have learned from Vasishta Maharshi, use them and protect the good people of the land. Rama is a little hesitant. He has been taught by his elders that you should not hit women. He has been taught that women have to be protected and taken care of. But then Maharshi says, oh no Rama, this is no woman. She is a Rakshasi. She has to be destroyed. She is here to destroy every other person who's doing good. So here the category doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether she's born as a male or a female. When she goes into such behavior, that has to be destroyed. So Rama shoots his arrow and Lakshmana shoots his arrow and Tataki is destroyed. In the meanwhile, Maharshi Vishwamitra has taught Rama and Lakshmana great mantras of Bala and Atibala. Maharshi teaches it to Rama and then Rama teaches it to Lakshmana. By the mantras of Bala and Atibala, Rama and Lakshmana never feel tired. They don't need sleep, they don't need food. This is the power they have with it, and with that they guard Maharshi's yajna, which will come over here. We will talk about Maricha and Subahu. Because of the size of the boxes, some order is here and there. Please bear with us while we move our camera to show you the next scene. Yajna is happening. Why do people do yajna? For the good of mankind, of course. And then Maricha and Subahu are destroying. They are throwing stones into the Homakunda, into the Agni. They are throwing blood carcass into the Agni, and Vishwamitra Maharshi is waiting. Rama and Lakshmana also have to wait for a few days before they appear. And just as the Purnahuti, the final part of the yajna is happening, these appear. But Rama hits his arrows. Maricha is thrown across the seven seas, as far across the seven seas, meaning as far as he can go, he is thrown away, while Subahu is killed immediately. Now there is rejoicing, evil has been destroyed, and as a reward, and also Maharshi Vishwamitra plays a very important role in the childhood events of Rama's life. Maharshi Vishwamitra says, see, he rewards the young princes with whatever they like. He says, there is a beautiful bow weapon there, very close from here, in Maharaja Janaka's palace. Ramachandra, would you like to see that? Rama and Lakshmana are very excited. They say, yes, yes, we'll come. Let's go. Let's go see this beautiful bow called Shivadhanus. And then Maharshi Vishwamitra takes them along to show them the Shivadhanus into Janaka Maharaja's palace. On the way, they see an abandoned ashrama. It appears there is rangoli in front, it's been cleared, the water has been put, but nobody is visible in that ashrama. And then Rama realizes that it is Ahalya Devi, Gautama Maharshi's wife, who has been cursed and who has become formless. So there is also versions of the story where they say Ahalya has become a stone. So for depiction, we have the stone, which is nice to show in a still theatre or even on a stage. And as Rama's pada, his feet touch the stone which is in that ashrama, the stone splits out and Ahalya emerges redeemed from the curse given to her by Gautama. And then Shatananda is the son of Gautama and Ahalya, who is the preceptor, who is the guru in Janaka's court. News spreads. See, no phone, no internet, nothing, but still news spread. So by the time these people they stayed there for a day and they received the atithya of Ahalya, the news had gone there and he came and thanks Rama and Lakshmana and Maharshi Vishwamitra, and then they proceed to Mithila. Here we have a scene which happened much before this of the birth of Sita. Sita is found when Janaka Maharaja is plowing the ground to do a yajna, and then she is found as a baby. So this is Janaki, Maithili, Sita, Mithile. The girl from Mithila is called Maithili. Janaka's daughter Janaki, the one found when they were plowing the land, is Sita. That is her birth. And Rama comes to see the Shivadhanus. There is a competition announced that whoever is going to be able to tie the string on the Shivadhanus gets to marry Janaka's daughter Sita. This is called Swayamvara and Kanya Shulka, two very important aspects of ancient Indian culture. The girl got to choose the boy, and the boy had to present his talent. The boy had to say what is his worth. He had to go and exhibit his talent in front of the girl and her parents, and then they may or may not choose him. So it is called a fee for marrying a Kanya Shulka was part of ancient Indian traditions. The Hindu traditions still have this, where in Karnataka, in the Mysore regions, when there is marriage happening, it is the mother of the boy who gives gifts to the girl, thanking her that she is coming into the household to continue their line. Here there is a very interesting conversation between King Janaka and King Dasharatha. Of course, Rama breaks the Shivadhanus. Not only does he tie the string, but he breaks the Shivadhanus, much to everybody's joy and delight. It is said when Rama broke the Shivadhanus, there was a roaring noise all over Mithila. People rushed out of their homes and they started jumping in joy and clapping their hands and started immediately decorating their homes with buntings and then flags and festoons. And they knew the noise meant that Rama had broken the Shivadhanus and Sita's wedding would be happening in Mithila. Of course, Rama says, my father, my parents have to be informed, they have to come. We shall wait for them to come. In the meanwhile, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna are proposed with cousins of Sita, Urmila, Mandodari and Shrutakirti. They agree, the marriage alliance is agreed upon, and there is a Dibbana, there is a beautiful procession which comes from Ayodhya to Mithila. Here the mothers say, oh no, there is no time, we have to, who are the mothers? Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi do not attend Rama's wedding or their children's wedding. They say, no, no, you get married and bring the brides home, we have to get their dwellings ready. We didn't have shared dwellings, everybody lived in their own independent homes at that time, and so the mothers had to get their apartments ready for the girls to start their new life. And so they became very busy in Ayodhya, while King Dasharatha went with Vasishtha and Vamadeva to attend Rama's wedding. There is a discussion prior to the wedding between Maharajas, Dasharatha, stalwarts and Janaka. King Janaka asks Dasharatha, Maharaja, how would you like the wedding to happen? Is there something you would like us to offer you to take to Ayodhya along with our girls? Dasharatha is very, very insulted. He said, oh Maharshi, they call you Janaka, and this Janaka is a last name, by the way, and they call your country Videha, people who are not connected to the body, people who are not connected to the material. How can you ask me such a question? I am insulted. You are giving us 4 Lakshmis, not 1. What more do we want? He says, do you think we cannot afford anything? Ayodhya is very rich. We are very fine, thank you, but nothing, we want nothing from you. And then there is a plea from Janaka. He says, Maharaja Dasharatha, our daughters are used to certain comforts. They have their sakhis, they have their retinue, and they have some things which they like a lot. Will you give me permission to send those along with them? And now it is agreed upon, and then the wedding happens in grandeur, and then there is dancing and singing, and everybody returns to Ayodhya. Janaka, it seems, gives golden caps to the horns of the cows which he has given, and the golden caps are tied with gold bags, sacks of gold and jewelry and presents for the 3 mothers who had sent their blessings, and nobody had witnessed such a grand procession. And in the elephant carts, you can see there is an elephant cart, maybe we will show you at the end of the session. In the elephant cart, they all move back to Ayodhya, slow and steady and beautiful. A sculpture of this can be found, of this procession, can be found in the Hazara Rama temple in Hampi in Karnataka. Those of you who visit that would maybe want to see that. As they are going wherever there is, whenever there is too much joy, there is something which comes along and says, look at me. So as they are moving through the forest, there is lightning. And there is Parashurama, who is also an avatar of Vishnu, appears. Parashurama has been annihilating the Kshatriyas, the ruling clan, because his father was killed by them. So he has taken a vow that he will destroy all Kshatriyas, and whoever gets married he got information that Rama got married now, and then he's come to destroy Rama. But before that he says, oh Rama, I heard that you have broken the Shivadhanus. With me, I have Vishnu Dhanus, both made by the same architect, Vishwakarma. And then he says, can you break my bow? Can you touch my bow? Can you string my bow? Rama very calmly receives the bow, and then he ties an arrow to this and says, oh Parashurama, now offer to me. Parashurama has capacity to fly around the earth. He can go anywhere. He's already turned 21 times around the world and destroyed everybody. He now says, I want you to give me all the energies you have, and so that all your yogic powers, to offer it to this arrow which I am going to shoot at. And then Parashurama accepts defeat and it is said he had only enough energies to go to the Himalayas and settle there. With this, we come to the end of Balakanda. And Balakanda, the names of the chapters in Ramayana are very logical. And Bala, young boy, story of Rama as a young boy is Balakanda. We have just shown you some main scenes of the Balakanda. We now have, beginning next, Ayodhya Kanda. Ayodhya is the capital of Dasharatha, Kosala kingdom, and we have the happenings in Ayodhya as part of the Ayodhya Kanda. Here, coronation is, they are getting ready, many years pass after Rama gets married, and they are getting ready to coronate Rama as the king. And here is a scene of what we have kept of the first scene of Ayodhya Kanda. There are events which lead to this. Dasharatha is looking in the mirror one day and he finds a grey hair. He comes and discusses it with Maharshi Vasishta, and Maharshi says, "O Raja, you are now aging. It is time for you." He has also given him a nice education that after the age of 16, you have to treat your sons as friends and not as younger ones. And he says, Rama is now ready, and Rama is now ready to take over the kingdom. And they look at the Panchanga and they say, the correct time is tomorrow, O Dasharatha. You have to crown Rama as king. And Dasharatha is all happy. See, for us, when children go better than us, it is happiness for us. Success comes for a parent when a child does better than the parent. And this is the theory in India. That is why parents are always caring for the children to make them better than them. So Dasharatha too is very excited. And then he asks, we have a poet, DVG, in Karnataka, and then he describes this. How was this? Dasharatha went to court, and then he asks the people, he calls all the people, before he even goes and informs his palace that Rama is going to be king. Dasharatha calls all the important people, ordinary citizens, every group of society is there represented, and then he asks them, says, closed doors meeting, of course, with important people of society. So brainstorming session of Dasharatha. After Vasishta tells him, he says, now I have to make Rama the king. What is your opinion? We have this very beautiful shloka, Ramaya, Ramabhadraya, Ramachandraya, Vedhase, Raghunathaya, Nathaya, Sitaya Pataye Namaha. DVG says, somebody said, oh Rama. Somebody said, oh Ramabhadra, oh the protector is becoming a king. Oh ho, that beautiful moon-faced Ramachandra is becoming king. And then somebody says, Vedase, oh the knower of the Vedas, the protector of the Vedas, he is going to become our king. Then somebody says, oh, not only is he that, he is the protector of the Raghu Vamsha, Raghunatha. And then somebody says, Mamanatha, oh, my Natha Rama. And then the women folk are not to be left behind. They say, no, he is Sita Pate, Sita Pataye Namaha, Namaskara to all. So this we will continue tomorrow on day 4 of Dhaatu Navaratra Mahotsava 2021. Have a very nice day, and as promised, we shall show you the elephant cart with which the Maduve Dibbana of Rama goes to Ayodhya and then take leave. Namaskara.